Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, opening your drawer, and realizing that the 25,000 Iraqi dinar note you've been holding for years is suddenly worth 85,750 US dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet, that's exactly the buzz racing through online forums and investment groups right now. The phrase RV is starting is lighting up across social media platforms, with people claiming that the long-awaited revaluation of the Iraqi dinar has finally begun. But before you celebrate or make any quick financial decisions, let's slow down and look at what's really going on, because when you hear claims that a few paper bills could suddenly make someone a millionaire overnight, there's always more to the story. Today, we're diving deep into the facts, the rumors, and the reality behind this so-called stunning update about the dinar revaluation in 2025. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see why understanding the truth behind these numbers is more important than ever. To start, let's talk about what people mean when they say URV. RV stands for revaluation, a term used when a country decides to adjust the official value of its currency compared to other currencies like the US dollar. In theory, if Iraq were to suddenly raise the value of the dinar, that 25,000 note could skyrocket in worth. But the question everyone's asking is this really happening now? As of October 2025, the official exchange rate set by the Central Bank of Iraq is around $1 US dollar equals roughly 310 Iraqi dinar. That means your 25,000 dinar note is worth about 19 US dollars, not tens of thousands. So where did the huge numbers come from? Some claim that Iraq plans to raise the dinar's value to more than $3 per dinar, a jump so massive it would completely rewrite Iraq's economy overnight. But as we'll see, currency values don't change like that without powerful economic forces behind them. So why are so many people suddenly talking about this? Recently, online communities and currency dealers have started circulating posts saying that Iraq is preparing for a secret or surprise RV, that high-level meetings and financial adjustments are already underway. The story usually starts phrases like, "inside sources say," or "my contact in Baghdad confirmed." For people who've been waiting for years, it sounds like the moment they've dreamed of. But here's the truth. This same rumor has been circulating almost every year for more than a decade. In 2009, in 2015, and again in 2020, similar claims appeared, predicting that the next week or next month would bring a massive change. Yet, despite all the excitement, no such revaluation has ever happened. That doesn't mean Iraq's currency can't grow stronger over time. It simply means that an overnight transformation worth thousands per note is far less likely than many people believe. Let's take a closer look at Iraq's economic reality. Iraq's economy is heavily dependent on oil exports, which make up nearly 90% of government revenue. Oil is both a blessing and a challenge. When oil prices are high, Iraq earns more money, which strengthens its reserves and helps stabilize the dinar. When oil prices drop, the opposite happens. Over the past year, oil prices have remained fairly stable, and Iraq has even increased production slightly. These are positive signs, but they don't justify a sudden $3 per dinar leap. Economic growth takes time and is influenced by factors such as government stability, trade balance, inflation rates, and foreign investment. The Central Bank of Iraq has spent years working to control inflation and improve the country's banking infrastructure, but none of these moves indicate that a dramatic revaluation is around the corner. So, what exactly would it take for a real RV to occur? In simple terms, a country can't just decide to make its currency more valuable out of nowhere. The value of a currency reflects the country's economic strength, its exports, its production, and the trust of international markets. If the Iraqi government suddenly announced that one dinar now equals $3, the global financial system would have to accept that rate, and other countries would have to start buying Iraqi goods at that price. That's a huge leap. Experts explain that a revaluation of that magnitude would make Iraq's exports, especially oil, too expensive for foreign buyers. That could cripple Iraq's economy instead of helping it. This is why most economists agree that if the dinar rises in value, it would happen gradually, not overnight. Now, let's address the question that's causing the most excitement. Is there any evidence that an RV could be starting soon? Some point to Iraq's recent efforts to modernize its banking system as a sign of preparation. The central bank has been tightening regulations, improving currency controls, and enhancing digital transactions. These changes are designed to make Iraq's financial system more transparent and stable, all necessary steps toward future economic strength. However, these reforms are not proof of a massive overnight revaluation. Instead, they're signs that Iraq is slowly laying the groundwork for long-term stability. This is actually good news for those who believe in Iraq's economic future, but it's not the explosive change that rumor-based communities keep promoting. In the past few months, several social media posts have gone viral claiming that major banks in the US and Europe are preparing to exchange Iraqi dinar at new, higher rates. These posts often include screenshots or photos that look official but rarely provide any verifiable source. When researchers look closer, they find that these images are either edited or taken out of context. Major global banks follow strict international exchange rate systems, and none of them have announced any change in dinar value. If a revaluation of this size were truly happening, it would be covered by every major financial network on the planet. There would be press releases, international agreements, and market adjustments, not just rumors in chat rooms and Facebook groups. Still, many people continue to hope for a big change, and that's understandable. Iraq has made genuine progress since the early 2000s. It has rebuilt key industries, attracted new investors, and improved infrastructure in cities like Baghdad, Basra, and Erbil. The government is also working to reduce corruption and create new job opportunities, which could lead to stronger long-term growth. But a stable economy doesn't mean a sudden currency explosion. What we're more likely to see, according to most analysts, is a slow, steady appreciation of the dinar as Iraq strengthens its trade relationships and political stability. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Real wealth grows over time, not overnight. To understand why these rumors keep returning, we have to look at the psychology behind them. People are naturally drawn to hope and opportunity. The idea that a small investment could turn into a fortune is incredibly appealing. For some, holding dinar isn't just a financial decision, it's emotional. It represents belief in a comeback story, a once war-torn nation rising again. And while that hope is inspiring, it also makes people vulnerable to misinformation. Many dinar dealers profit from these cycles of excitement. They sell currency at marked-up prices, encouraging buyers to act fast before the RV hits. Unfortunately, once people buy, the excitement fades, and the promised revaluation never arrives. Then, months later, the same rumors begin again. Now, let's talk about what's actually been happening inside Iraq in 2025. The government has announced several economic reform plans aimed at diversifying its income sources. Beyond oil, Iraq is investing in agriculture, technology, and manufacturing. These steps are critical for long-term economic stability. At the same time, Iraq has been working with international financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to strengthen its fiscal policies. The central bank continues to hold steady foreign currency reserves and is implementing stronger anti-money laundering regulations. All of this creates a healthier environment for gradual currency growth. But again, there's no sign of an overnight revaluation. Some investors argue that Iraq's large oil reserves and improving trade relationships could eventually make the dinar much stronger, and they're not entirely wrong. As Iraq stabilizes politically and economically, its currency could gain value. But this type of growth usually happens over decades, not days. Consider countries like South Korea or Vietnam, whose currencies slowly strengthened as their economies grew stronger through exports and global partnerships. Iraq could follow a similar path. However, a sudden leap from less than a penny to over $3 per dinar would be unprecedented in modern economic history. Let's also clear up one major misconception. People often confuse redenomination with revaluation. A redenomination happens when a country changes the physical appearance or numbering of its currency, often removing zeros to simplify transactions. For example, turning 1,000 dinars into one new nar but keeping the same total value. Some news reports mention Iraq discussing redenomination, but that doesn't mean the currency becomes more valuable internationally. It's simply a technical or cosmetic adjustment. Many nations have done this for convenience, not profit. If Iraq ever redenominates, it's about accounting efficiency, not a sudden explosion in personal wealth. There's also an important warning here for anyone thinking about buying more dinar now. Be cautious. Many online sellers claim they can get you authentic uncirculated notes, or promise that your investment will multiply once the RV hits. Some even say banks will refuse to sell dinar because they know the revaluation is coming. But the reality is that currency speculation is one of the riskiest forms of investing. Exchange fees, low liquidity, and unreliable resale options mean most people who buy dinar will find it difficult to cash out later. Financial advisors generally recommend treating this as a very small, high-risk speculation, never as a main investment strategy. That doesn't mean Iraq's economy lacks potential. In fact, Iraq's young population, strategic geographic position, and massive oil wealth could create long-term opportunities. If the government continues reforms, attracts international partnerships, and strengthens its institutions, the dinar could appreciate gradually in the coming years. Some experts even predict modest gains as early as 2026 or 2027, assuming global oil demand stays high and political tensions ease. But those gains would likely be measured in small percentage increases, not thousands of percent. The key takeaway is this: Iraq's progress is real, but it's a slow climb, not a rocket launch. Let's imagine what would actually happen if the dinar did revalue overnight to over $3 per unit. Iraq's total money supply would instantly become worth trillions of dollars, far more than its current economic output or reserves could support. The central bank would face massive pressure, exports would collapse, and the government might not be able to pay its debts. Inflation could spiral out of control, and foreign trade could freeze overnight. This scenario would hurt Iraq more than help it, which is why most economists reject the idea completely. A strong economy supports a strong currency, not the other way around. So where does this leave investors and everyday people who hold Iraqi dinar today? The best approach is patience, awareness, and realism. If you believe in Iraq's future, there's nothing wrong with keeping a few notes as a speculative souvenir or long-term hope. But it's vital to separate hope from hype, rely on official updates from the Central Bank of Iraq, and credible financial news outlets, not rumors. Track oil production, government stability, and inflation trends. Those are the real signals that determine currency movement. Remember, big financial changes are always public, not secret. Looking ahead, 2025 may still be an important year for Iraq's economy. The country is stabilizing, rebuilding, and attracting foreign investments. Global energy demand continues to give Iraq leverage, and ongoing infrastructure projects could make trade smoother across the region. All of these factors point towards slow, but positive progress. The dinar may strengthen slightly as a reflection of these developments, but the dream of turning 25,000 dinar into 85,750 remains just that, a dream for now. Believing otherwise could cost people money and peace of mind. So is the RV starting? The answer, at least for now, is no. There's no official confirmation, no sudden change, and no evidence of a secret currency adjustment behind the scenes. The Iraqi dinar remains stable, worth roughly what it was last year, and Iraq continues its gradual recovery. But here's the good news: real progress is happening, just not in the overnight miracle way many imagine. If you stay informed, think critically, and make decisions based on facts, not fear or fantasy, you'll protect your finances and your future. The Iraqi dinar story is far from over, and we'll keep tracking every development that matters. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts below. Do you still believe a revaluation could happen soon? Or do you think the real opportunity lies in watching Iraq grow the slow, steady way? Whatever your answer, stay smart, stay skeptical, and stay tuned for more updates here on Iraqi Dinar News.